Welcome back to the Z Consulting Podcast. I think we're all on social media these days,
Pretty much.
but today we're going deep on something that might seem like deceptively simple, right?
Mhm.
It's social media design. You scroll through feeds every single day.
Right.
How complex can it be?
Exactly.
But the reality is there's a whole strategy behind those visuals
Yeah.
that grab your attention and make you want to learn more.
Absolutely.
And with me to break it all down, I have, well, an expert in all things social media.
Well, I don't know about all things, but I do know a thing or two.
You know more than me, that's for sure.
All right, I'll take it.
So let's jump right in.
Yeah.
What's fascinating is that social media design goes way beyond, I think, just making things pretty.
It really does.
It's a specialized area of graphic design, almost like a language, right?
Yeah.
That helps you communicate your brand's entire identity in a tiny little square on someone's phone.
And it's a challenge because you have to capture everything about your brand.
Mm.
In such a small space, it's kind of like a haiku of design.
I love that, a haiku of design.
Yeah.
So we have a source here
Yep.
from A&D Academy, and they define social media design pretty specifically.
Mm-hmm.
What makes it different from, say, designing a website or a print ad?
That's a great question, because with a website, you have a lot more space
Yeah.
to tell your story, to lay things out, give information.
But print, it's static.
Exactly. It's like a snapshot in time. But social media is dynamic. It's all about grabbing attention in a fast-paced environment.
So how do you actually do that?
Well, think of it this way. You wouldn't use the same words and tone talking to your best friend as you would in a business presentation, right?
Sure.
Social media design is kind of like that. It's about tailoring your visuals to the specific platform and its audience.
So a carousel post on Instagram needs a different approach than a LinkedIn banner image.
Absolutely. Instagram is very visual, very kind of vibe-based, so you might use bright colors, bold imagery, things that really pop as people are scrolling through.
Okay. But on LinkedIn, it's more about professionalism and showcasing your expertise. So your designs might be a bit more refined, more minimalist.
So it's not just about slapping your logo on a pretty picture and calling it a day.
No, not at all. It's a lot more strategic than that. It's about understanding your brand, your audience, and the nuances of each platform.
So this source, it highlights 5 key reasons why social media design matters for any business.
Yeah,
But I think 2 are especially crucial if you're just starting out.
agreed.
All right, let's dive into those.
Okay.
What's the first one that really makes a difference?
Capturing attention.
Of course.
I mean, we are bombarded with visuals constantly.
Yeah.
Right. And your social media design is like that split-second audition to make someone stop their thumb from scrolling.
Stop the scroll.
Exactly. And actually focus on your message.
It's almost like that first impression, I think, when you walk into a room, right?
Yeah.
You want to project confidence and make people curious to learn more. Absolutely. You want to stand out, but in a good way.
So then how do you make sure that your designs stand out in that crowded space?
That's the big question, right?
Does it all come down to being like super creative or artistic?
Creativity definitely helps, but it's not the whole story. The second crucial reason A&A Academy highlights is building brand awareness.
So even if you have the most amazing product or service,
Yes, even the best product.
and people can't recognize you visually, they're just going to scroll right past.
They won't even know it's you. It's like you're invisible.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. I'm thinking about some of my favorite brands on Instagram. They all have a distinct look, even without like seeing the logo every time.
Exactly. It's about consistency. Think about those brands. Spotify with its vibrant colors and bold typography, Netflix using humor and memes that feel instantly recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
They've built a visual language
Yeah.
that goes beyond just a logo.
It's like, you see that font, you see that color.
Yeah, and you just know.
Exactly.
It's them.
So for someone who's just starting to think about their social media design, where should they even begin? Like, what are some practical first steps?
That's a great question, and I think a lot of people get overwhelmed at this stage. They think they need to have all the answers right away.
Right.
But you don't. One thing I always recommend is to actually study the brands you admire. Don't just scroll passively. Pay attention to what catches your eye.
Okay.
What colors do they use? What kind of layouts? What's the tone of the images? The fonts? Really analyze what's working for them.
That's really smart.
It's free research,
Right.
and it can give you so many ideas, Plus, you can start to see patterns and trends.
It's like taking a master class in design just by observing what's already working.
Exactly. And in Academy provides some great examples to get you started. Sephora, for instance, they consistently use high-quality images, stylish layouts, and a very specific color palette that screams like beauty and luxury.
Your Instagram feed is definitely drool-worthy. It's like visual candy.
Right. And then there's Starbucks, which does an amazing job of weaving seasonal themes into their designs.
Right.
Their holiday cups are iconic, but they also bring that festive spirit online, creating a sense of anticipation and excitement around each season.
So they're not just selling coffee, they're selling an experience.
Exactly. And that's what good social media design is all about. Creating an experience, an emotion, a connection.
That's really clever.
And don't underestimate the power of user-generated content. Starbucks encourages customers to share their own photos, which not only provides them with free content, but also builds a sense of community around the brand.
It's like they have a whole team of marketers working for them for free.
Exactly.
So, okay, a lot of our listeners might be thinking, this is great for big brands
Yeah.
with like entire design teams.
Right.
But I'm just one person running a small business. Where do I even start?
That's a totally valid feeling. I mean, it can be intimidating to think about doing all of this on your own. But the good news is that you don't have to. And Ed Academy actually addresses this head on
Right.
with 12 practical tips
Okay,
that A&W business can use regardless of budget or experience.
perfect.
So you don't need a fancy design degree or a huge budget to create effective social media designs.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's about being smart, resourceful, and consistent.
So let's hear it.
Okay.
What are some of the most impactful tips for someone who's just starting to kind of dip their toes into social media design?
Well, the very first one, and it's often overlooked, is to identify your target audience.
Makes sense.
Before you even think about colors or logos,
Okay.
you need to know WHO you're talking to.
Hmm.
What are their interests, their pain points, what kind of visuals would resonate with them?
It's like that saying, if you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one.
Exactly. So let's say you're a small business owner selling handmade jewelry. Your social media design shouldn't just be about showcasing pretty earrings. It
Yeah.
should be about capturing the feeling of wearing those earrings,
Right.
the lifestyle they represent. Are you selling to, like, bohemian free spirits or maybe chic, minimalist fashionistas?
Totally different vibes.
Exactly. Your designs need to speak to that specific audience.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this goes deeper than just like slapping a filter on a product photo.
Way deeper. It's about telling a story, creating a feeling, building a connection with your audience.
What's another tip that's crucial for beginners?
Create a content strategy. Now, I know that might sound intimidating,
A little bit.
but it doesn't have to be like this complex document or anything. It's just about thinking ahead,
Okay.
what you'll post, when you'll post it, and what overall message you want to convey.
So instead of just posting randomly when inspiration strikes,
Yeah, which can be tempting.
you're thinking about the bigger picture,
Yes. You're thinking about how each visual contributes to your brand story.
like chapters in a book.
I like that. And this is where tools come in handy. Even if you don't have, like, Photoshop skills, there are tons of free apps and online resources.
Oh.
Canva is a great one for creating visuals, and there are free social media scheduling tools to help you plan your posts in advance.
Free is always good.
Especially when you're starting out and you might not have a huge budget for fancy software.
Right.
But even with the best tools, you need to remember that content is king.
It always comes back to the content.
It does. And Academy really stresses this. Your designs should be visually appealing, yes, but they also need to deliver value.
Mhm.
Think about what your audience is looking for, whether it's entertainment, information, inspiration. Give them a reason to follow you, to engage with your content.
It's like those social media accounts that are just a constant barrage of, like, buy my product, buy my product. You tune out after a while.
Totally. You just scroll right past.
Yeah.
Think about MailChimp. They're a B2B company selling email marketing software, which could be pretty dry, right?
Yeah. Not the most exciting topic, maybe.
But their social media uses quirky illustrations, a consistent visual style, and engaging storytelling that makes you actually want to learn more about email marketing.
They make it fun.
They do. They understand that even in the B2B world, people are still people.
Mm.
They want to be entertained. They want to connect with a brand that has a personality.
I'm starting to feel like I need a whiteboard to like map out all these ideas.
I know, right? It's a lot to take in, but it's also really exciting. Once you start to understand the principles of good social media design,
Yeah.
it opens up a whole world of possibilities.
And it makes it a lot less intimidating.
Exactly. And that's just scratching the surface. We have so much more to cover, but I think it's time for a quick break.
Speaking of scratching the surface, let's hear from our sponsor before we dive deeper.
Absolutely.
Our friends over at Nidus Lab are doing incredible things with technology that can really help you streamline your business and boost your online presence.
From AI agents to web apps, they've got solutions for just about everything.
If you're looking to take your online presence to the next level, Nidus Lab is definitely worth checking out.
Head over to www.niduslab.com and see what they can do for you.
We'll be right back with more insights into social media design after this short message.
Welcome back to the Z Consulting Podcast.
It's great to be back. We're diving deep into social media design, and before the break,
Yeah.
we were talking about how even small businesses can create a strong visual presence online.
Absolutely.
We've got those 12 tips from A&D Academy
Right.
to guide us.
Yes, they're like our roadmap.
So let's get into like the nitty-gritty
All right, let's do it.
of what actually makes a design like eye-catching
Yeah.
and effective.
So, are you ready to get visual?
I think so, yeah.
All right, because everyone says high-quality images.
Right.
But what does that even mean?
Yeah, what does that actually mean?
In the context of social media.
Right, because you see it everywhere.
You do?
Like, use high-quality images.
Wait, what does that even look like?
Think about the last time you scrolled through your feed. What made you stop?
Okay, yeah.
Was it a blurry, pixelated photo? Or was it something crisp, vibrant, interesting composition?
You're right, it's those sharp, eye-catching images that make you pause.
And what if you're not a professional photographer? Are stock photos like the only option?
Not at all. There are so many resources out there, even free ones.
Okay, good.
Unsplash and Pexels are great for finding stunning images.
Okay.
And you can even search for specific moods or themes.
Really?
Yeah. So if you need a picture that evokes, like, tranquility or adventure, you can find it.
Wow. Okay.
But also, don't underestimate the power of authenticity.
You mean like taking my own photos?
Exactly.
But what if I don't have a fancy camera or a studio setup?
Honestly, these days, smartphone cameras are incredible.
They really are.
It's more about the eye behind the lens.
So, like, what are you looking for?
Think about composition, good lighting, and capturing the essence of your brand.
Okay.
A simple photo of your workspace or the tools you use can be way more engaging than some generic stock image.
So it's about personality, showing that personality.
Yes, people connect with authenticity.
That makes sense.
And speaking of personality, what about video?
Oh, yeah, video.
It seems like every platform is pushing video content these days.
For sure.
And for good reason.
It's engaging.
Incredibly. And it doesn't have to be a Hollywood production.
Yeah.
Short, behind-the-scenes clips, product demos, even just you talking directly to your audience.
Yeah.
These can be super effective.
Like what kind of like day in the lifestyle videos?
Exactly. Those are so popular because they give people a glimpse behind the curtain.
And make the brand feel more human and relatable.
Right. And you can even add text overlays, music, fun transitions,
Right.
all using free editing apps.
On your phone.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's no excuse not to experiment with video.
Okay, I'm starting to get inspired. But I have to admit, I get a little intimidated by all the design rules.
I get it. It can feel overwhelming.
Composition, color palettes, like all that stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely a learning curve.
Is there like a shortcut for someone who's not like design savvy?
Absolutely. And Academy has some great advice. Embrace templates.
Templates.
Yes. Canva, for example, has pre-designed templates for all kinds of social media content.
Okay.
They take care of the dimensions, the layouts, all the technical stuff.
You don't have to start from scratch.
Exactly. You can just plug in your own photos and text and boom, you have a professional-looking design.
That takes a lot of pressure off.
It does, but of course you still want to make sure those templates reflect your unique brand.
Right. How do you do that?
That's where your brand's visual identity comes in.
Okay.
Think about the colors, fonts, and overall style that represents your brand.
Yeah.
Once you have that defined, you can customize those templates to match.
So even if
Yeah.
I'm using a pre-made template, I can still make it feel like me.
Exactly. It's all about adding your own personal touch.
And don't forget about white space, right?
Oh, white space is so important.
Yeah.
Leaving some breathing room around your text and images can make a huge difference.
It's like giving your content space to breathe.
I love that analogy. It prevents your designs from feeling cluttered and overwhelming.
Right, because I've definitely seen those posts where it's just like a wall of text and images,
Oh yeah, information overload.
and I just immediately scroll past.
It's too much.
It's like sensory overload.
Exactly. Visual hierarchy is important.
So what is that?
It's basically guiding the viewer's eye.
Okay.
You want people's eyes to be drawn to the key elements of your design,
Okay.
whether it's a headline, a call to action, or a stunning product photo.
So you're strategically placing things.
Exactly. Think about it like a roadmap. You want to lead people through your design, make it easy for them to understand your message.
Okay, so we've got visuals, templates, white space.
We're getting there.
What about the actual words we use in our designs? Like any tips for crafting compelling copy that works alongside the visuals?
Ah, yes, copywriting.
Yeah.
This is where storytelling comes in.
Oh, interesting.
Think about the emotions you want to evoke with your designs and use words that support that narrative. So if you're a travel brand, you might use words like adventure, escape, discover.
To create a sense of wanderlust.
Exactly. Or if you're a food brand, you might use words like delicious, fresh, homemade to appeal to people's senses and make them crave your product.
It's like painting a picture with words
I like that.
Yep.
You're painting a picture with both visuals and words.
that complements the visuals.
Yes, they work together to create a powerful message.
I remember to keep your copy concise.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Social media is a fast-paced environment.
Yeah.
People don't have time to read long paragraphs.
Yeah.
So use short, impactful sentences, bullet points, strong calls to action.
See if it's snappy.
Exactly. Get to the point quickly and make it easy for people to understand what you want them to do.
Speaking of calls to action, any tips for crafting ones that actually get people clicking?
Oh, this is a big one.
Yeah.
Avoid generic phrases like click here or learn more.
Okay.
Be specific. Tell people exactly what you want them to do and what they'll get out of it.
So instead of just visit our website,
Yeah, which is so
it
vague.
could be like shop our new arrivals.
Yes.
Or download your free guide.
Exactly. Make it enticing. Make it clear what the benefit is.
Create a sense of urgency or exclusivity.
Oh, that's a good one.
Offer a limited time discount or a sneak peek at something exciting.
People love feeling like they're getting something special.
Mm-hmm.
Make them feel like they'll miss out if they don't act now.
Okay, this has been so helpful.
Good, I'm glad.
Before we unleash these newfound powers on the world,
Yeah.
let's take a moment to hear from our sponsor, Nidus Lab.
They're doing amazing things with technology that can really amplify your online presence.
Whether you need help developing a killer website, a chatbot that engages your customers 24/7,
Or even those cutting-edge AI content creation tools.
head over to www.niduslab.com to see how they can take your business to the next level.
They're definitely worth checking out.
We'll be right back with the final part of our deep dive into social media design after this short message. Welcome back to the Z Consulting Podcast for the final part of our deep dive into social media design. We've covered a lot,
Yeah, we have.
from understanding your audience, crafting compelling visuals and copy. But now, I'm kind of curious about the flip side. What are some common mistakes that people make?
That can actually hurt their social media presence.
Yeah, let's talk about those.
Right, because sometimes it's just as important to know what not to do
Yeah.
as it is to know all the best practices.
Right.
And one of the biggest pitfalls I see constantly is neglecting to optimize designs for different platforms.
So are you talking about that kind of one-size-fits-all approach?
Yeah.
Thinking you can just post the same image across Instagram, Facebook, Twitter,
Yeah.
and just call it a day?
Exactly. And it happens all the time.
Because it's easy.
It is easy, but it's not effective.
Yeah.
Because remember, each platform has its own unique dimensions, style, and audience. What looks amazing on Instagram with its square format and that emphasis on visuals
Yeah?
might get awkwardly cropped or lost in the feed on Twitter, which is way more text heavy and fast paced.
Okay, yeah. No, I've definitely been guilty of this, of just repurposing the same image across multiple platforms.
And I think we all have at some point.
What are some specific things to keep in mind, though, when you're tailoring designs?
Well, think about the technical aspects first. Image sizes are crucial.
Okay.
Instagram prefers square images, while Pinterest thrives on vertical pins.
Okay.
Facebook's a bit more flexible, but using the optimal dimensions will make your visuals just look their best.
So it's worth taking that extra time to resize or even create slightly different versions of an image for each platform.
It really is. It shows that you care about the details, that you're putting in the effort,
Right.
and it makes a difference in how your content is perceived.
That goes beyond just the size, right?
Yeah, Yeah, absolutely. Think about the style and tone of each platform. Instagram is all about those beautiful, aspirational visuals, while LinkedIn is more professional and business focused. Your designs should reflect those nuances.
So it's like speaking the visual language of each platform.
I love that
So,
analogy.
yeah.
It's about understanding the culture and the expectations of each platform.
What about other common design mistakes, though? I'm sure there's a few that just, like, make you cringe when you see them.
Oh, there are plenty. Using low-quality images is a big one.
Okay. Yeah.
Blurry, pixelated visuals, they just make your brand look unprofessional.
Not good.
And they can actually damage your credibility.
It's like showing up to a business meeting in sweatpants.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't do that.
Not the first impression you want to make.
So invest in good stock photos, or if you're taking your own pictures, just make sure the lighting is good, the images are in focus, and you save them in the right format and resolution.
And speaking of things that make you want to run and hide,
Yeah.
let's talk about typography.
Oh, typography.
I've seen some social media posts where the font choices are,
Questionable.
yeah, to say the least.
It's like they picked the first font they saw and just went with it.
Too many fonts.
Way too many. And in all the wrong places.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what's a big mistake people make with typography?
One of the biggest is using too much text.
Okay.
Remember, people are scrolling through social media quickly.
Yeah, they're not there to read a novel.
Exactly. They don't have time to decipher a wall of text.
Keep it concise.
Yes. Keep it short, keep it sweet, get to the point.
And use visual hierarchy
Yes,
to kind of like guide the reader.
absolutely. You want to make it easy for people to skim your content and understand your message at a glance.
So, bold headlines,
Yes.
bullet points,
Love them.
short paragraphs.
All of those things make your content more digestible.
Okay, and what about font choices themselves?
Okay, that's another big one. Avoid anything that's overly stylized or difficult to read.
Right.
So, cursive fonts, heavily decorated fonts, or fonts that are too thin or too bold can make your content look just unprofessional.
And sometimes even unreadable.
Exactly. I've seen posts where I literally have to squint and tilt my head
Same.
to try to figure out what it says.
Like, why?
It defeats the whole purpose of communication.
Right.
Stick to clear, legible fonts that are easy on the eyes.
Okay, so
And make sure there's enough contrast between your text and the background.
light gray text on a white background.
Design crime. It's the worst.
It's the worst.
And it's not accessible.
Right.
Which brings me to another important point. Accessibility.
Okay.
We want our designs to be inclusive and easy for everyone to read and understand.
Oh, that's a great point. I hadn't even thought about accessibility in the context of social media design.
But it's so important. Think about people with visual impairments who might be using screen readers.
Right.
Make sure your images have alt text descriptions.
Yeah.
And choose color combinations that are easy for people with color blindness to distinguish.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to have to research some colorblind-friendly palettes.
There are some great resources out there.
What about mistakes that relate to, like, the overall tone and strategy of social media design?
Well, one that can really hurt your engagement is being too promotional.
Right, because social media is about building relationships, not just bombarding your audience with, like, sales pitches.
It's like that friend who only calls when they need something.
Right, not a good friend.
Not someone you want to hang out with.
No.
So focus on providing value, entertaining your followers, sharing content that they'll genuinely find interesting.
Okay.
The 80-20 rule is a good guideline. 80% valuable content, 20% promotional.
So how do you make sure those promotional posts are still effective without being too pushy?
Well, one common mistake is not including a call to action at all.
Oh, yeah.
If you want your audience to take a specific action,
Yeah.
you need to tell them what to do.
Right.
It's like having a beautiful storefront but no door. People can admire it, but they can't come in.
Right, you've got to invite them in.
Exactly. So make sure your call to action is clear, concise, and uses action-oriented language.
So instead of just visit our website,
Which is so passive.
it could be like, shop our new arrivals and get 20% off.
Perfect.
Or download our free guide to creating stunning Instagram stories.
Yes. Give them a reason to click.
This has been so helpful. Like, I feel like my eyes have been opened to a whole new world.
I'm glad that's what we aim for.
It's been an eye-opening deep dive into social media design.
That's for sure.
We've learned so much about creating visuals that capture attention, crafting compelling copy, avoiding common mistakes,
We've covered it all.
and even thinking about accessibility.
It's been a pleasure exploring this fascinating topic with you.
I loved it.
And remember, as with any skill, practice makes perfect. The more you experiment with social media design, the better you'll become at creating content that engages your audience and helps you achieve your business goals.
If you're looking for a team of experts to help you elevate your social media game, our sponsor, Nidus Lab, is a fantastic resource. They can help you with everything from design and content creation to strategy and analytics.
And don't forget to check out A&D Academy's full article.
We'll include a link in our show notes.
A huge thank you to them for providing the insightful source material for this deep dive.
To our listeners, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
We hope you found it valuable and inspiring. We release new episodes every Wednesday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Thank you for tuning in to the Z Consulting Podcast, where we discuss the ins and outs of business. Looking forward to having you join us again.